In 2018, the internet was gripped by a chilling new phenomenon, the Momo Challenge. It began as a whisper on social media, a sinister game that allegedly targeted children and teenagers, urging them to complete a series of dangerous tasks, culminating in self-harm or even suicide. But was the Momo Challenge real, or just another internet hoax designed to spread fear? This chapter delves into the origins of the Momo Challenge and how it became a global sensation, leaving parents, educators, and authorities scrambling for answers. The Momo Challenge first gained attention in mid-2018, when reports began circulating on platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube. The game supposedly involved a creepy avatar named Momo, a grotesque figure with bulging eyes, a wide grin, and stringy black hair. Momo would send messages to unsuspecting users, often children, threatening them with harm if they didn't follow instructions. These tasks started innocuously, like waking up at odd hours, but quickly escalated to acts of self-harm or violence. The character of Momo was inspired by a real sculpture created by Japanese artist Keisuke Aisawa. The sculpture, titled Mother Bird, was never intended to be part of an online horror game, but its eerie appearance made it the perfect avatar for a viral hoax. The image of Momo spread like wildfire, appearing in memes, videos, and even hacked children's content on YouTube. The combination of a terrifying figure and the promise of a dangerous game was enough to capture the public's imagination and fear. But how did the Momo Challenge gain so much traction? Part of its success lies in the power of social media. Platforms like WhatsApp allowed the challenge to spread rapidly, while viral videos and sensationalist news coverage amplified the panic. Parents shared warnings in group chats, schools sent out alerts, and governments issued statements, all contributing to the sense of urgency and danger. Yet, despite the widespread fear, there was little concrete evidence that the Momo Challenge was real. Most of the stories were based on secondhand accounts or exaggerated reports. In some cases, the challenge was nothing more than a prank, with users creating fake screenshots or videos to scare others. But the lack of evidence didn't stop the hysteria. For many, the mere possibility that such a game existed was enough to spark outrage and fear. As we explore the rise of the Momo Challenge, one question lingers. Why did this particular hoax resonate so deeply with people? Was it the terrifying image of Momo, the vulnerability of its supposed targets, or the way it tapped into our collective fear of the unknown? Whatever the reason, the Momo Challenge became a cultural phenomenon, blurring the line between reality and fiction in the digital age. What exactly was the Momo Challenge, and how did it work? This chapter delves into the mechanics of the alleged game, exploring how it targeted its victims, the role of the terrifying Momo avatar, and the psychological tactics used to manipulate participants. Was the Momo Challenge a carefully orchestrated campaign of terror, or simply a viral hoax designed to exploit fear? The Momo Challenge allegedly began with a message from an unknown number. The sender, using the Momo avatar, would introduce themselves and invite the recipient to play a game. The rules were simple: complete a series of tasks or face dire consequences. These tasks started off innocently enough, waking up at odd hours, watching a scary video, but quickly escalated to more dangerous activities, such as self-harm or even suicide. The final task, according to some accounts, was to take one's own life. The Momo avatar was central to the challenge's success. With its grotesque appearance, bulging eyes, a wide grin, and stringy black hair, Momo was designed to instill fear. The image was often accompanied by threatening messages, written in a cold, robotic tone. For example, "I know where you live. Do as I say, or I'll hurt your family." These messages were tailored to prey on the vulnerabilities of children and teenagers, exploiting their fear of the unknown and their desire to fit in. But how did the Momo challenge spread so quickly? The answer lies in the power of social media. Platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube became breeding grounds for the challenge, with users sharing screenshots, videos, and warnings. In some cases, the Momo avatar was inserted into children's videos on YouTube, creating a sense of unpredictability and danger. The challenge also benefited from the viral nature of internet culture, where shocking content is often shared without verification. Despite the widespread panic, there is little evidence that the Momo challenge was a coordinated effort. Many of the messages and videos were likely created by pranksters or trolls, using the Momo avatar to scare others. In some cases, the challenge was nothing more than a series of fake screenshots designed to go viral. Yet, the lack of evidence didn't stop the hysteria. For many, the mere possibility that such a game existed was enough to spark outrage and fear. As we examine the anatomy of the Momo challenge, one thing becomes clear. It was a masterclass in psychological manipulation. By combining a terrifying image with the promise of a dangerous game, the challenge tapped into our deepest fears. Fear of the unknown, fear for our loved ones, and fear of the dark side of technology. Whether real or imagined, the Momo challenge left an indelible mark on the digital landscape, reminding us of the power and the dangers of the internet. The Momo challenge sparked global panic, with reports of children harming themselves or even taking their own lives after participating in the game. But how many of these stories were true? And how many were the result of mass hysteria? This chapter investigates the alleged real-life cases linked to the Momo challenge, separating fact from fiction and exploring the role of media sensationalism in amplifying the fear. One of the most widely reported cases involved a 12-year-old girl in Argentina who allegedly committed suicide after participating in the Momo challenge. The story made international headlines, with many blaming the game for her death. However, upon closer examination, there was little evidence to support the claim. Local authorities found no direct link between the girl's death and the challenge, suggesting that the connection may have been exaggerated by the media. Another case that fueled the panic was the death of a teenage boy in India. Reports claimed that he had been pressured by the Momo challenge to take his own life. Again, investigations revealed no concrete evidence linking his death to the game. Instead, it appeared that the story had been sensationalized, with the Momo challenge serving as a convenient scapegoat for a tragic but unrelated event. These cases highlight a troubling trend: the tendency to blame internet phenomena for real-world tragedies. While it's true that the online world can have a profound impact on mental health, the evidence linking the Momo challenge to specific incidents is thin at best. In many cases, the stories were based on hearsay or unverified reports, which were then amplified by sensationalist media coverage. The role of the media in spreading the Momo hysteria cannot be overstated. News outlets around the world ran stories about the challenge, often without verifying the facts. Headlines like "Momo Challenge," "The game that's killing our children," dominated the news cycle, fueling fear and outrage. Social media platforms also played a role, with users sharing warnings and fake screenshots, further blurring the line between reality and fiction. But why did the Momo challenge resonate so deeply with people? Part of the answer lies in its timing. The challenge emerged at a time when parents were already anxious about the impact of technology on their children. The idea that a sinister game could infiltrate their homes through smartphones and tablets tapped into these existing fears, creating a perfect storm of panic. As we examine the alleged real-life cases linked to the Momo challenge, one thing becomes clear. The truth is far more complex than the headlines suggest. While the challenge may have been a hoax, the fear it generated was very real. This chapter explores the fine line between fact and fiction, and how the media's role in spreading hysteria can have lasting consequences. The Momo challenge was more than just an internet hoax. It was a cultural phenomenon that left a lasting impact on society. From schools and parents to tech companies and governments, the challenge sparked widespread fear and prompted urgent action. This chapter explores the ripple effects of the Momo hysteria, examining how it changed the way we think about online safety, media responsibility, and the psychological impact of viral content. One of the most immediate consequences of the Momo challenge was the wave of panic it caused among parents and educators. Schools around the world sent out warnings, urging parents to monitor their children's online activity and report any suspicious messages. In some cases, schools even held assemblies to discuss the dangers of the challenge, creating an atmosphere of fear and vigilance. For many parents, the Momo challenge was a wake-up call, highlighting the need for greater awareness of online risks. Tech companies also felt the impact. Platforms like YouTube and WhatsApp faced intense scrutiny for their role in spreading the challenge. YouTube, in particular, came under fire after reports surfaced that the Momo avatar had been inserted into children's videos. The platform responded by removing thousands of videos and tightening its content moderation policies. WhatsApp, meanwhile, introduced new features to help users identify and report suspicious messages. While these measures were necessary, they also raised questions about the balance between safety and freedom of expression. The media's role in amplifying the Momo hysteria cannot be overlooked. Sensationalist headlines and unverified reports fueled the panic, often without providing context or evidence. This led to a phenomenon known as moral panic, where the fear of a perceived threat far outweighs the actual danger. In the case of the Momo challenge, the media's coverage not only spread fear, but also gave the hoax a life of its own, turning it into a self-perpetuating cycle of hysteria. But the impact of the Momo challenge wasn't entirely negative. It also sparked important conversations about online safety and the psychological impact of viral content. Parents became more aware of the need to educate their children about the dangers of the internet, while schools implemented new programs to promote digital literacy. Governments and organizations also took action, launching campaigns to raise awareness about online risks and provide resources for those affected. As we reflect on the legacy of the Momo challenge, one thing becomes clear. It was a reflection of our deepest fears and anxieties. In an age where technology is increasingly intertwined with our daily lives, the idea that it could be used for harm is both terrifying and fascinating. The Momo challenge may have been a hoax, but the fear it generated was very real, reminding us of the power and the dangers of the digital world.